I'm Scotty, you're not, and I'm here with a review for Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery. A little late to this. Came out last weekend, but Christmas, so I wasn't able
Speaking
to.
of late, just want to let you know we're all counting on you.
That's the wrong review! See, that's. How did it go? That's this one! That's done already! Bye bye, gone! We're not doing that. This is Glass Onion. I don't have an onion to represent it, but it's Glass Onion. Here, Pennywise is an onion now. Glass Onion. It's porcelain. But, Anyway, yes, this is the much anticipated sequel spin-off in the same universe movie of Knives Out. Directed by Rian Johnson once again, and bringing back Daniel Craig as Benoit Blanc, the master detective. And so, going into this, I heard some complaints. So, in this modern day world, there's going to be spoilers. But I didn't hear much about this movie. The only complaint I heard was that, the mystery doesn't start until the middle of the film. Yes and no. Because, actually, if you think that the mystery doesn't start until the middle of the film, you obviously don't get it. Because, as Benoit Blanc explains, the mystery has been going on since before the movie even started. Because it's kind of a misdirect. You think there's going to be one mystery, and then it's a totally different one, and it works. I'll get into the spoiler stuff, but it works. So that was the only real thing that was quote-unquote spoiled. A lot of people are hating on it because of that. And so if you are mad at this movie because it doesn't technically start until the middle of the movie, you didn't get the movie. And that's fine for you, but I would suggest a second watch. After you learn all of the spoiler stuff, rewatch it, and maybe you'll start getting it, because there's even something that happens that is explained by Benoit Blanc, and then when that someone says or does, and when that someone says or does this, you catch it, and it's like, wait, yeah, and you didn't catch it before because you were just with the rest of the characters following along. And I'll get to that, but yeah, and I thought this movie was actually really good. I don't think it's better than the first one. You still got some of the acting power in this. You got Kate Hudson and Catherine Hahn, Leslie Odom Jr., Janelle Monáe, who has a twist with her character. Daniel Craig, like I said. Noah Sagan comes back as a different character in her. He plays Daryl, spelled Derol. Okay. And you got Bautista.
Bautista?
But no, he's not wearing blue. He wears a Speedo. Didn't need to see that, but he's a wrestler, so but he's got a gun sticking out of his Speedo, so And is that the only? Oh, and Edward Norton, of course. And so the story is that Edward Norton has invited all his friends and colleagues from this business that they've all worked together and stuff before to this island for a murder mystery. They're going to solve his murder. And so right away you go and you're thinking, okay, Benoit Blanc's going to come in, and the first thought was, okay, this guy's going to die, and so they're going to have to call Benoit Blanc. No, he's there right away. He's on the boat with them, and you think, okay, so Edward Norton's going to be the one that dies. And that's really what it's leading up to, because he says, you're going to solve my murder. And so yeah, that's the whole setup, but it is very, very much misleading when you get through it, because the whole time I'm thinking one thing is going to happen, and then when the victim does die, it really comes out of nowhere, and then the movie turns itself on its head with an explanation from Benoit Blanc and makes you look at the movie from a whole different point of view. That really makes you go, I've been itching all morning. Come on. I think it might be dry, but I can't put lotion there because get my eye. You can't get my eye, especially with that Medicated lotion, you don't want that in your eye. Maybe I'll splash some water on it later. But anyway, so yeah. And so, right away, there are two things that happen in the movie that, one, I'm okay with, but it's been happening too much, and that is that they made Benoit Blanc gay. There, not to say there wasn't any clues in the first one. Clues, mystery movie, there you go. But I think there's been too much of making characters gay or lesbian or in the LGBT community as a whole. Can we have straight characters anymore? Nothing against those kind of characters, but it feels like there's too many of them. But having those characters is fine. Nothing against them. And it's very subtle. You just see Hugh Grant is his domestic partner. It's not like they're holding hands or they're all over each other. They're smooching. No, it's just, And there's going to be some people out there who go, well, Daniel Craig is straight, so why are you having him play a gay character? Shut up! It's called acting. And I hate it when people are like, well, if they're not gay, they can't play gay characters. Or if they're a gay person, they have to play a gay character. It's called acting. Duh! It's like you can't be an actor anymore. You're an actor. They can do that. Oh no, it's against. Shut up. Okay, just shut up. Shut up. Okay? I'm just saying. There's too many of that out there. Oh, if they're not gay, they can't play a gay character. Newsflash, straight people have been playing gay characters for years. And there's no problem with that until all of a sudden you got a wild hair up your ass and decided we have to call it out. Just shut up. Okay, just shut up. Anyway, there's that. And I have no problem with it. I have no problem with it whatsoever. Just, can we have some straight characters around? Because, there's straight characters in this movie, but, I'm just saying. Because they got all weird with Glenn and Glenda with Chucky, and I'm also fine with that too. It's just a little off. But the first thing that really got me was they decided that they're going to start in May of 2020. If you know about 2020 and what went on in May, you know that was in the middle of a goddamn pandemic. And they put that in the movie. And I have a problem with that because movies are supposed to be escapes from reality. Don't put things from reality in movies that are supposed to be. Movies are supposed to be an escape from that. It's supposed to not represent full reality. And yet, people complain, oh, that movie takes place in 2020. I didn't see a mask. I didn't see quarantine stuff. It's a movie. It doesn't have to represent reality. They do this in their defense, though, they do handle it well. Again, they're not all over the place with it. They're not putting out a message, on either end, whether or not, because there's some people who say, oh, it's all a hoax, and some people who support it, and it's on either side. It's just showing the happening pandemic. But I will say, like, people are in quarantine and on Skype, and then you got Kate Hudson who's just having a freaking party. So that represents that side of the map, where people who just don't believe in it. But she does say, oh, it's okay, they're in my own bubble. I'm like, okay, so that means you sanitized every single one of them before they went to your party? How can you guarantee that one of them doesn't have anything? And again, does just take place in 2020? Because having a get-together on an island, I don't know. They get together on this island, and Benoit Blanc is already there. And so that they show that there's these, they all get these invitations when introducing the character. Invitation, it's a big wooden freaking box that's a puzzle. And we go through this whole strenuous thing of them figuring out the puzzle, most of them. And then you get this other character, led to believe to be Andy, who just takes a hammer and breaks the fucker till she gets to the invitation. Right. But given when we find out what happened between Andy and him, and that just doesn't make much sense now. We find out, how would he invite her? Why would he invite her? If he already knew. That might be a plot hole. we'll get to it. We'll get to it. But yes, Benoit Blanc is there with everyone, and you know he's talking about this mystery, and you got the beaches, and they got this, you know, glass onion, which is like a big. Okay, first of all, because like I've seen this before. Like, Hey Arnold, he had a room that had a big glass roof. And everyone, you know, every kiddie group of 90s is like, I want that room. And then you grow up and you're like, hell no, that's going to magnify the sun and you're going to roast like a chicken. And so why would you want to sit inside a big glass onion where the sun can just right down on you and fry you like an egg? It just doesn't make any sense, right? And you don't want anything made of glass, because you know how easy it is for someone to throw a rock and break in? No. Then you see these houses, like the house in 13 Ghosts that's made of glass, or you got other houses made of glass, and it's like, why would you do that? What kind of person would construct that? It's not safe. It's the easiest thing to break into. You take a rock, and then you're screwed, right? I know there's got to be some metal in there, but, you know, a glass onion. So, yes, the first half of this film is basically talking, but it's not just talking in goofy stuff. It's getting to know our characters, getting to know the background of stuff with the characters. They all went into some kind of business. They all worked out a deal with Edward Norton's character, and Andy, Janelle Monáe's character, is very against this. You see, she's very angry at him. She's the only one not really forthcoming with talking to him, so something happened there. And so when we get to what was supposed to be his murder mystery, Blanc figures it out right away. That it was supposed to be Birdie, which is Kate Hudson's character, was the killer, and he deduces all this before the thing goes off and ruins the whole thing. And then he had this speech he tells him, like, you know, you can't just, you got all the, you know, you set up this whole thing as a murder mystery, but you might have signed your own death warrant because all these people don't like you, and you're basically turning off all the lights and leaving a gun on the table, which is exactly what happens, because we'll find out. So yeah, and then there's just more talking, get to know each other, and then Batista dies. He takes a drink of something, he starts looking, and he dies. And so he's the one that dies. Not Edward Norton, not someone else. He's the one that dies. But he's not the one that the murder mystery is about. This is where those were like, oh, the murder doesn't happen until the middle of the film. The whole mystery doesn't kick off until then. The problem is, the whole mystery has been going on the entire time. And this is where everything is turned on its head. The light, Edward Norton said he had set the lights to go off, which they go off, and then we see that Batista, who's been carrying his gun everywhere, his gun is gone, his phone is suddenly quiet, and then Andy is shot and killed. I do that because we find out something else. And then as Benoit Blanc brings everyone back into the middle of the room, he tells them what happened. And it's revealed that this murder mystery has not been about Batista. It's not been about Edward Norton. It's been about Andy. You see, the woman that was killed was actually her sister, Helen, who came to Benoit Blanc with the box that she broke, because she's the one that broke it, because her sister, Andy, or Cassandra, Andy be short for Cassandra? I thought it'd be Cassie. It was very weird when he says Cassandra, I'm like, who's Cassandra? Her name is Andy, and I'm like, I guess it's short for Cassandra, but I've never heard that be short for Cassandra ever. So it's a bit of a change. Andy, Andrea, who knows? But basically, there's this whole subplot that's been going on behind closed doors, behind our eyes, without anyone's noticed that Benoit, I'm just going to call him Blanc. Blanc and Helen have been working together to try to solve the murder of her sister, the real Andy, who was responsible for writing down a thing on a napkin that is but this little white crystal stuff called clear, which is supposed to be a fuel source, but the problem is it's too combustible to a point of it would explode. He's powering this whole glass onion compound with it, but it's very combustible, and they haven't figured out the kinks, but he still wants to go ahead and do it. And the thing is, he stole it from Andy because I don't know, he blackmailed everyone, or he coerced everyone into telling the courts that he's the one who drew it, not her. And she couldn't prove it because conveniently she couldn't find the napkin, and you can say, oh, well, he took it. No, she just couldn't find it because she finds it later, and that's the whole thing, is that she stupidly emailed everyone saying she was going to send it. And if you know they all turned on you, why wouldn't you think that they would, one of them at least, would tell Edward Norton? But she ends up dead. To which Helen is the only one who knows that she's dead. And the whole world does not know yet. So they're using this as subterfuge to get Helen in as Andy while he figures out the real killer. So you see, the mystery is not about who killed Batista. It's not going to be about who killed Edward Norton. It's about who killed the real Andy. And that's what it's been the entire time. So, quite simply, the mystery was already underway when the movie began because the death had already happened. So if you didn't catch that, you just don't get it. And you're complaining and bitching, watch it again, really think, and you'll get it. It's a subversion. It subverts everything. And then we follow Helen as she kind of sneaks around and gets information and everything. We see things from a different point of view because she's there now. You know, because we see that Batista's girlfriend is with Edward Norton, which is kind of icky because both of those guys are like 50 and she's in her 20s, which is not illegal, but still weird. Or she could be 30, but that's still 20 years apart. But anyway, and so at one point you think he's mad because she's cheating on him, but it turns out he was mad because she tried to talk to Edward Norton about some project they're doing, and you know, he gets mad at that. And this is where I say that Benoit Blanc says it all comes down to a word that Edward Norton said earlier that is not a word. And he calls out that he says words that aren't words, and then he says another word that's not a word, and you're like, wait a minute, it's supposed to be this word, because you now realized he's not saying words. He's saying, because he's a fucking idiot. And he is not this big tech genius. He's an idiot who has been mooching off all these people. He stole the napkin formula from Andy. He never knew anything. And that's what this whole clinches on. This guy is an idiot. This guy is an idiot and has been the entire time. Even to a point he's been powering his entire compound with this stuff that is very highly combustible, which I'm back to vitamin E ass later. But yeah. And speaking of being an idiot, do you know how he killed Batista? Pineapple juice?
Duct tape?
Pineapple juice. Oh. Because Batista in this movie is allergic to pineapple. And that killed him. Except, allergies don't work that way. You don't just die right away. I mean, he poured a lot in there, but I don't think they're inherently lethal. He is grabbing his throat, but I don't know. But pineapple juice is what kills him. How would they kill him with duct tape? That doesn't make any sense.
I was thinking about that one time.
Yeah. But pineapple juice, that's pineapple juice. Because he's just, Edward Norton is an idiot. And, yeah, oh, and by the way, they've been teasing this whole thing with the Mona Lisa, that's supposedly the real Mona Lisa he's got hanging up with the protection thing. Every time my phone goes off, the thing shuts. And it kept like, doing this. And I thought that it was going to lead to something because they built it up like maybe that's where whatever was set to kill someone was going to happen. But no, it does come in later. But yeah. And so this whole mystery has been trying to find the envelope with the actual cocktail napkin in it. Because, as we find out, it was Edward Norton that killed her. And he took it. And Batista was the one who saw him driving by because he knew the car. He nearly ran him over. He nearly ran Batista over as he was going there because he got there early. Everyone showed up at Andy's house when they couldn't get a hold of her after she sent that email. And Batista was there first and nearly get ran off the road by Edward Norton. And so he was about to reveal it before Edward Norton covered his ass earlier on in the conversation. And then Batista's phone kept going off. And that's because it was a news report about Andy's death, the real Andy's death, I should say. And so he's like, he was going to blackmail him to get his internet thing, but then, he just killed him. And yeah, it was Edward Norton. And so, quite stupidly, I think, look, if you've got evidence of something that you're telling the truth, don't ever show it to the bad guy. Because 9 times out of 10, they're just going to destroy it so you don't have the proof. But the way they handle this, after that happens, is just, well, it had me go, oh shit. So yeah, she pulls out the napkin and says, he's like, you can't prove that you wrote it first. She goes, I got one thing you don't. It says glass onion on the napkin. He takes a lighter and just, and he's like, no one saw that. And of course, because they're all a bunch of assholes, they say, no, I didn't see a napkin. I didn't see him give the drink to Batista. And so they're like, really? And Blanc's like, I've done all I can. I still have to adhere to the courts. And he hands her something. He says, but there's one thing you can do. The whole reason what happened to your sister or something like that. And you know what it was? Because she starts freaking out. And she starts breaking everything. She even destroys the bar. And you know what he put in her hand? Clear. And there's a fire already broken out. So what does she do? She throws the clear in the fire. As soon as they show that clear, that's when I went, oh shit. Because they say it's highly combustible to an explosive level. So she throws it. And he's got this highly protective thing over the Mona Lisa, right? As the fire gets even closer and closer. It's all around it, but the protective thing is protecting it, obviously. But he, like a fucking idiot, like I said earlier, showed that there's a failsafe that he put down. And so she hits it. Mona Lisa goes up in flames, and everybody goes out onto the steps. And they're like, you know what? Come to think of it, I saw him burn the napkin. You know what? I saw him give the drink to Batista. And all that stuff. So they're gonna stand against him after what happened. Because after she starts throwing stuff, they start doing it. I'm like, this is gonna get them too. The whole time, Benoit Blanc is just sitting there smoking a cigar, like, did my job. And yeah, that's where it ends. And this was a good movie. I'm gonna say it's pretty good. The character's really good. The acting is great. On par with the original. He had some pretty good actors in there too. But I think this does a good job of subverting your expectations because you think, oh, Edward Norton clearly says you're going to solve my murder. And so you think, okay, he's going to die. They're going to think it's a setup, but he's actually going to die. But he doesn't die. He ends up being the killer. And the mystery had already kicked off before the movie had even started. So, yeah, it was good. So, what are your thoughts on Glass Onion? Let me know in the comments. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'm Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.